AROC 3 continues the circus from the tricky triangle. Aiden Norman, the reigning AROC champion, will lead in his orange Holden Commodore to the line. Briley right on his outside as the green flag waves. We're racing at Pocono. Already heavy contact for Tom Sears into that first corner. Reigning champion Aiden Norman gets a great run. Sears already on the back foot, and he's lost that draft. Briley right in the second position. Jimmy Kerr the third, rolling in that third spot. Dustin Painter following along, and then you've got Tommy Withers, the Virginian, in that Carolina blue 21 Holden. John Honeybrink in tow, and then the damaged Tom Sears, 4.5 seconds adrift. Caution comes out on that first lap. Aiden Norman leads Briley Wright in the second position, and in the third spot, that lime-colored Holden Commodore, Jimmy Kerr the third, sitting in position number 3. So a chaotic start to this third round of AROC. Let's see what happened. Nope, way behind. Let's check this out here. There we go. Now we got the right cam. Keep your eye on that Dayglow Ford Mustang of Tom Sears. Let's see what happened. I think he just tried to come up the corner. He didn't realize John Honeybrink was there, and he's already ruined his shot. He comes into this race with that points lead. Tom Sears will have to come down pit road and get that race car repaired. That Ford Mustang is in trouble. So Sears in the 14 Mustang will come down to fix what ails him. Jimmy Kerr will decide to stay out. Dustin Painter will stay out. The rest of the field is in. So we'll see what that means for them. Lights are still on atop the pace truck, which means we've got a couple more laps of caution. We're going to take this opportunity to take a break, and we're going to let these guys work out their positions, and hopefully we're going to come back with more than a lap of green flag racing, fans. Don't go anywhere. You're watching AROC 3 from iRacing's Pocono. Lights are off atop that pace truck. We go green. Jimmy Kerr with a great start. Five Holdens, two Fords in this field tonight. Both of those Fords running 5th and 6th. Tom Sears gets his race car repaired once again. Look at that, 3, almost 4 wide. Defending AROC champion Aiden Norman on the inside. Jimmy Kerr squeezed up the middle. He's going to have to back off. North Carolina's Dustin Painter to the lead out of the tunnel turn. Norman to the front out of that third corner, but watch the draft work. Here comes Briley Wright in that 51, one of those Bluegrass Bandits, now drafting behind that orange 62. Tom Sears in the Dayglow Mustang shoots to the outside. Briley Wright comes down up the inside in his white Holden. How about John Honeybrink in the 20? That pink Mustang on the inside line. He goes for the lead out of turn 1, 3 wide for first place. 4 wide for first place. Tom Sears sneaks his way up the middle, and you have 4 Thursday Night Thunder championships leading this race. 2 for Sears, 2 for Norman. Out of that second corner, Norman went purple last time around, 57.09. Now it's Briley Wright's turn to draft. Withers in that blue GM, that Holden Commodore, squeezed between the Dayglow and the Lime Machine. Here comes John Honeybrink on the outside in his pink Mustang, while Dustin Painter comes up in his olive-colored Holden. Let's go on board with the North Carolinian. One lap around the Pocono Raceway. It is not an easy racetrack to navigate. Aiden Norman in that 62 at the front. Briley Wright sitting in second. If you've just tuned in, you have not missed a thing. You're watching AROC 3 from iRacing's Pocono Raceway. Tommy Withers in the 2-1 Holden, getting a little bit shaky, having to hold on to his race car. Tom Sears, who briefly led in his Dayglow 14 Mustang to the inside of Honeybrink in the rose-colored car. Briley Wright, one of those Bluegrass Bandits, telling Aiden Norman to come on back to second. Wright now squeezes behind that 62, and the 21 of Withers now wants to come on to the front. Honeybrink in fourth, and everybody gunning for Aiden Norman, leading in the orange GM. Sears going the long way around, heading into the tunnel turn in that Dayglow Ford. Look at the way the draft just pulls Sears right up to Briley in the white machine. Sears coming up behind Briley in that white Holden, and there is the race leader, Aiden Norman. 0.3 of a second ahead of the rest of the competition. 9 laps into this 45-lap event. The cars will not have enough gas to go the distance. Track Facts will tell you they can go approximately 20 to 25 laps on 1 tank of fuel. They get 2 tire changes in this race and 1 fast repair. This being the very first race at Pocono for the ARC's Race of Champions. The corners here at Pocono modeled after Trenton Speedway, turn number 1. Turn number 2 modeled after the world-famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the racing capital of the world, as they like to call it. And turn number 3, this long, wide, flat curve modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. Briley Wright looking to get just a little bit more than an inch on Aiden Norman. He drafts around to the outside of the 62 car. Wright now slingshots his way to the front, but will he cut Norman off into 1? He will not. Aiden gets the inside line, but how is he going to use it out of 1? Aiden gets a big shake out of that first corner. Briley Wright to the front, waving the flag for the great state of Kentucky. But Aiden Norman from the great state of North Carolina looking to take flight back into first. He weaves around Briley Wright, goes up the inside. That time, Briley Wright leading lap number 10 by 1/100th of a second. Leading lap 11, excuse me. Jimmy Kerr the third, JK3. For those that know, sitting in the 3rd position. Jimmy looking to get his way to the front in his Holden Commodore. 4 GMs at the front, 2 Fords at the back. 5 GMs at the front, excuse me. Tommy Reynolds in the chat, cheering for those Bluegrass Bandits. Briley Wright being the only one in this race, and right now sandwiched between 2 drivers from North Carolina. Right now it's 1-1, Ford and GM. John Honeybrink getting the first win for Ford in the AROC 3 opener at Daytona. Aiden Norman winning last week at Circuit of the Americas, getting the first win of AROC 3 for General Motors. So with 5 GMs to 2 Fords, you would say that the odds are tipped in favor of those GMs. Norman leads, Painter in second, Jimmy Kerr in third, single file all the way back to John Honeybrink. Caution is out for the second time today on lap 14. Tom Sears is in the 4th position, and it's one of those Bluegrass, well, the only Bluegrass Bandit in this race, Briley Wright, who's taken a heavy piece of contact on the right front. He's missing a good portion of the bumper. Dustin Painter on his outside now. Let's see what happened to Briley. Briley just comes up out of turn number 1. Heavy contact with Dustin Painter. And then another GM car and Tommy Withers making even more contact with Briley. And I think that's what did the majority of the damage. Let's have another look. This is coming into turn number 1. Wright sends it in deep all the way to the yellow line. He comes up. Painter gets a heavy scrape. There goes Tommy Withers. Indirectly in defense of Painter in the Olive Commodore. And gives Briley Wright something to think about. Let's have another look. Keep your eye on the white car on the right. Withers possibly also just missing the trajectory on his turn. Gets into Briley Wright, who then smacks the outside wall again. Caution number 2 is out at the Pocono Raceway. Aiden Norman leads Jimmy Kerr. Tommy Withers in that 3rd position. Tom Sears, the 2-time TNT champion, in 4th. And everybody is coming down into the pits for fuel, possibly tires. Drivers can only make it approximately 25 laps on 1 tank of fuel, so if another caution comes out, they may just make it to the end on gas, and they still have 2 tire changes remaining in this race. So drivers are going to go into the pits, they'll take a break, and so will we, fans. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and we'll be back with more awesome AROC racing from iRacing's Pocono. Lights are off on top of the pace truck. Aiden Norman leads the field in his orange Holden Commodore. The North Carolinian will have control of the field when we go to green. Let's see if we can bother Aiden for a quick word. Aiden Norman, Rick James up top. You got me?
Yes, I do.
Buddy, you're leading this race. You are the defending AROC champion. You are also the only other driver here to match Tom Sears in Thursday Night Thunder Championships. This is one of your favorite tracks. Alas, with these race cars, the draft has a big, big say in what happens in the end of this race. Do you have the car to win?
I think so. I mean, I'm up here leading a good amount of laps, and it feels like, especially on the exit of the corners, I'm able to keep them behind for the most part. Obviously, the draft, as you were talking about, is ridiculous. So if I make even the smallest mistake, that whole field is right there to swallow me up.
Who's going to be your biggest challenge on the way to victory lane tonight?
I know Briley spent a lot of time in second place. Lurkin's obviously the most winningest driver in ARCs. I mean, it's AROC, it's strong field no matter who's in the car behind me, so I've just got to watch my rear view and try and keep a hold of the lead till the end.
J-Pod cheering for the 22 if there is one. They're not a 22 J-Pod, but this guy right here is car 62, and he's got a great chance to win. Aiden, keep your wits about you, buddy. Hopefully we talk to you at the end.
All right, appreciate it, Rick.
Norman with control of the field as the pace truck will peel off. We're going to restart 18 laps into this 45-lap shootout. $200 on the line as the green flag comes out. We are racing again from Pocono. Norman with a great start in car 62. Kurt behind him. 2 Holdens, 1 Ford in third. Again, 5 Holdens in this race to 2 Fords. This is the first time in AROC 3 that the Holdens outnumber the Blue Ovals. And it's 1-1 so far. 1 win for GM, 1 win for Ford. We'll see who breaks that tie in about 26 laps. Aiden Norman leading by a quarter of a second off that third corner. John Honeybrink following diligently in that pink Ford Mustang. With a great draft now behind car 75, Jimmy Kerr in the lime Holden shoots to the inside of Aiden Norman. Kerr's going to try it on the inside. He's going to come up off that yellow line. Norman's got the momentum out of turn number 1. Here comes a push from Honeybrink in the 20. Look at that shot. You want to talk about bump drafting. John Honeybrink in that 2-0 behind the 7.5 of Jimmy Kerr. Out of turn number 2, orange, lime, pink. 2 Holdens and a Ford make up the podium positions. 19 laps into this race. Briley Wright now behind Dustin Painter, on board with the Kentucky driver. Briley Wright with a personal best of 54.19, his fastest lap today. Kerr in the 7.5, now faltering just a bit off the trail of Aiden Norman as John Honeybrink decides to clip the wall out of Indianapolis. Dustin Painter and Briley Wright, they might smell blood in the water. The 2-0 now continues, but limping, if you will. Was that Aiden Norman that just made contact with the wall? Possibly a little scrape on that 62. I can't see anything from here. Norman did lose a little bit of time. Jimmy Kerr running his personal best, 54.149 for Kerr. Honeybrink following in tow, those V8s screaming down that backstretch, if you will. It is a genuine triangle, Pocono Raceway. These race facts brought to you by Drip Diecasts and Collectibles, your #1 store on Facebook for all sorts of NASCAR memorabilia, diecasts, and more. Check out Drip Diecasts and Collectibles on Facebook. Genuinely one of the best stores I've seen as far as selection and just not just diecast of race cars themselves. I saw a Dale Earnhardt Wrangler livery gas pump on there the other day, like a diecast of that. Go check them out. 53.93 for Aiden Norman. He just went purple. Fastest lap of all. He's out to an 0.8 of a second lead on Jimmy Kerr. How about this 3-way for the 4th spot? Dustin Painter trying to hold off Briley Wright. Oh, a little bit of contact. You just saw Painter giving Briley the business. Sears now trying to go around to the outside, maybe the inside. Look at Tom Sears maneuvering his way around Briley Wright. That's the two-time Thursday Night Thunder champion shooting to the inside. He comes into this race leading those points. 4 markers ahead of that three-way battle for the second position. Aiden Norman, Nick Pressey, who's not in tonight's race, and Jimmy Kerr the third, right now tied for second, 22 points each. Tommy Withers running his second AROC event. He's tied for 12th with Dustin Painter. They each have 7 points. These two sitting nose to tail, running 6th and 7th. Withers just ran his best lap, 54.08 seconds on the clock. He's up 2 places from where he started. Tom Sears, the only Mustang in this mix. Tommy Withers tries to get one over on Briley Wright. Briley with the momentum out of turn number 1, and here comes a big push from Sears. No, Withers gets in between. Withers is going to force Sears to back off with Painter now in tow. Look at Tommy Withers to the inside of Briley Wright, who's going to take the advantage. Shoot to the left-hand side of John Honeybrink. Briley Wright trying to get into third. 2 by 2, 2 rows deep out of Indianapolis, and here comes Milwaukee. Tommy Withers with a big shove to John Honeybrink, now falling into turn number 1. Look at Tom Sears up the inside. What a way to use the draft. Sears into third, but he's going to have to just back off as the yellow line forces him to let off the throttle. Otherwise, he gets into Honeybrink out of turn number 1, but he makes that pass work. Let's have another look at Tom Sears. Sears is going to shoot to the left-hand side around Briley, around Withers and Honeybrink. Let's go on board and watch this again. Sears up 2 places from where he started. Withers now to the inside of Tom Sears. How about Tommy Withers? Trying to make it work for him. Withers now 1 spot away from the podium. Drivers last pitted on lap 16. They just might be good to go to the end, but it would be a stretch for them even if another caution came out. How about Tommy Withers? Ford versus GM for the 3rd spot. Withers taking his hold into the left-hand side. How will he manage turn 1? Brilliantly. Withers will fall in line. Aiden Norman leading Jimmy Kerr by 3.7 seconds. And this is the kind of performance Norman put on last week at Circuit of the Americas. But back to where the action is. Tom Sears leading this single file train 3rd through 7th. Honeybrink is going to be the rogue and take the outside line, possibly to get a good run out of turn number 3. Keep your eyes on that pink car. These guys using the draft to catch up to Jimmy Kerr. Now getting unorganized just a little bit. John Honeybrink might be struggling to hold on to that Ford Mustang. Tom Sears in his Ford, one of only 2 Fords in this race, up to 3rd. Withers behind. Sears takes a rather sharp turn into turn number 2. Withers a bit more smooth out of the exit, still following in that draft. Let's go on board with the Virginian. Oh, Withers with a poorly timed downshift out of turn number 3, and you see what it's cost him. Look at the gap that Sears has now opened up on Tommy Withers. And Honeybrink now closer to Withers than Withers is to Sears. That's what one bad shift can do for you here at Pocono. 16 laps to go this time by. Aiden Norman asserting that dominance. Dustin Painter coming up behind John Honeybrink. This is for 5th. Look at them snake down that front straight like it was Indianapolis. These cars make an incredible sound and an incredible show. Painter looking to get around that pink Ford of Honeybrink. He opens up the line on the inside. Painter puts 2 wheels to the inside of that yellow line. Comes up behind John Honeybrink, and he just can't get there. Riley Wright sitting in 7th, less than 2/10 away from John Honeybrink. Tom Sears trying to hold off Tommy Withers from that 4th position. Withers now breaking out just a bit of a gap over John Honeybrink out of turn number 3. And at this point, you can't see these drivers making it all the way to the end. Aiden Norman would be approximately 5 laps short if it goes green all the way to the end. There's Jimmy Kerr. He's in 2nd. 3 seconds ahead of Tommy Withers. How about Tom Sears now trying to go around the outside of the blue 21. Sears in the Dayglow 14, just edging Withers into that 2nd corner. Withers will have to back out, and he's going to follow. Sears now in 3rd by a greater margin than Dustin Painter has over Riley Wright. Tommy Withers using the draft to his advantage. He won't be able to open up that bottom line. Tom Sears holds on to the 3rd spot. How about John Honeybrink, though, following Painter? When will he make the move around him? Is he just waiting for those green flag pit stops? Again, drivers should not be able to make it to the end of this race. They can go probably 25 laps on 1 tank of fuel. Aiden Norman last pitted on lap 15. He has an 8-second gap to the rest of the field. This is what 8 seconds looks like. Count it. Tom Sears running in that 3rd position with Tommy Withers trying to get behind him. How about John Honeybrink trying to invent a lane closer to the wall? Honeybrink does see the opportunity for fourth. He puts that pink Mustang to the port side of that blue 21. Honeybrink tries to make it stick out of turn number 2. How about Painter trying his hand on the outside line? Honeybrink will stop that attempt. Great racing for everybody who isn't Aiden Norman. Tom Sears running away with third if he can. How about John Honeybrink? Giving Dustin Painter something to think about down the front straight. Ford versus GM for third and fifth. 11 laps to go around the tricky triangle next time by. Withers looking to the inside of Sears. Here's the move for the bronze medal spot. Will they go 3 wide in turn number 2? Looking like the Powerpuff Girls out there with the pink, green, and blue cars. Honeybrink on the outside of Withers. Tom Sears in the 14. This is what he wants to see behind him. Withers! There goes Painter. Withers comes down for tires and fuel. That could have been a big caution right there. But now Painter without draft trying to follow Briley Wright. Honeybrink will have a great run out of turn number 1. Will the floodgates now open? 10 laps to go at Pocono. Norman leads Kerr by 9, closer to 10 seconds now. Jimmy Kerr with a 2.3 second advantage on Tom Sears. Norman stays out. 10 to go. Points in AROC separated by 1 mark for each position. Starting with 15 points for the win and 1 point all the way down to 1 point. So that would mean right now that Aiden Norman would gain 2 points on Tom Sears. 3, actually, with Aiden Norman winning the pole. 1 bonus point for the pole sitter. So Aiden Norman, as the points stand now, would be 1 point behind Tom Sears going into the next round at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. AROC 3 next week at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Norman is in. Gets it slowed down to 55 miles an hour. Brandon P. in the chat says, get him lurking. Talking about Tom Sears, who will also come down pit road. Sears gets it slowed down. Briley Wright gets it slowed down. Dustin Painter stays out at 175 plus. Norman at 0. The scuffed up Dustin Painter out by himself. Leading. Gambling on possibly a caution. Norman is down, he's away. Fresh but cold tires for the 62. Sears is away. 7 seconds adrift of Aiden Norman. Dustin Painter now coming down pit road for fuel, tires. Gets it woed down to 50. Here comes Aiden Norman at 165. Coming to 7 laps to go at the line. Aiden Norman leads Tom Sears by 7.5 seconds. Briley right behind him. How about John Honeybrink, Jimmy Kerr? Look at this battle here for 4th. If a caution comes out now, all of Aiden Norman's work will have been for nothing. Honeybrink to the outside, Kerr to the inside. Dustin Painter out of the pits with fresh tires and enough fuel to go the distance. Here comes Honeybrink again on Kerr. Kerr hits the wall. Honeybrink just sneaks in behind Jimmy Kerr. Honeybrink watching Kerr go into that second corner. Dustin Painter, Briley Wright running nose to tail in their holdings. Honeybrink looking to put one more Ford on the podium. Aiden Norman has just gone purple. 53.78, fastest lap of the race. Tom Sears by his lonesome in the third position. Coming to 6 laps to go. If a caution comes out now and extends us to overtime, there are 3 green-white checkered attempts for these drivers to settle their differences on the 2.5-mile tricky triangle. Dustin Painter up next to John Honeybrink. Painter now behind Honeybrink. The olive car wants to get a piece of that pink Mustang, who hits the wall. Now Withers is in the wall. Honeybrink in deep trouble. Look at the mark now on the right-hand side of that Ford Mustang, and Honeybrink up against it. Withers and Wright now nose to tail. 5 to go next time by. Kerr looks slow out of that first corner. Dustin Painter, despite the damage, has John Honeybrink behind him. These two just made contact. If they make enough contact to spin, that yellow rag will fly. Five laps to go now. Dustin Painter right on those rumble strips, looking to get right in front of John Honeybrink. Stop that move. Honeybrink is in the wall, now dragging. Briley Wright gets around him, and John Honeybrink, the round 1 winner at Daytona, broken. That 2-0 Mustang has had enough tonight. He'll try to finish the race. Tom Sears, 3 seconds ahead of Jimmy Kerr, who's 1.7 seconds ahead of Tommy Withers. The Holdens are going to make out big time. Aiden Norman looking to get his second consecutive win, get one step closer to that AROC podium. Championship, I should say. Norman going for his second straight. Tom Sears ahead of Jimmy Kerr by 3 seconds. 2 seconds the gap. Painter now following Withers. Three laps to go for these drivers. Dustin Painter following Tommy Withers. Look at him snake all the way down to the checkered bits of the front straight. Withers wants to hold on to that 4th position. Tom Sears in second, now gaining on Jimmy Kerr, but still 12 seconds behind this man here, Aiden Norman. Just putting this field to shame. Coming to 2 laps to go at the tricky triangle. Tommy Withers with a damaged Holden Commodore just trying to hold off Dustin Painter, while Tom Sears still at his lonesome in that second spot. 5 miles remain. Kerr in third, Withers in fourth, Painter in fifth, and the only thing that can stop Norman now is a caution. Briley Wright coming up behind John Honeybrink. These two fighting not to finish in that 7th spot. Honeybrink just ahead of Wright. Norman desperately hoping to see that white flag, looking to collect it before anybody else can make contact. It will not be the lucrative points day that Aiden Norman is looking for. He is 4 points behind Tom Sears. And if they finish like they are now with fewer than 2.5 miles remaining, they're going to end up 1 point apart, if my math is right, which it never is. Aiden Norman in that 62. Now just under 2 miles remain for him. It'll be his second consecutive win in AROC 3, looking for his second consecutive championship and $200 to his name. John Honeybrink trying to hold off Briley Wright. Wright with a great run on Honeybrink. He's got to time it right. Aiden Norman collects the checkered flag. He is your round 3 winner of AROC 3. He'll be in a great position next week at Indianapolis. For now, Briley Wright just wants one more point on John Honeybrink. Will he have enough to get there? No. Honeybrink looking to hold off Wright, and he won't have enough. Briley Wright won't have enough as Dustin Painter comes to a collision at the end. There is your race winner, Aiden Norman. The pride of Dobson, North Carolina, winning his second straight race. We're going to have Aiden, Tom Sears, and Jimmy Kerr on the podium in just a bit. Don't go anywhere, fans. We're going to have top 3 on the podium. On the podium now with our top 3, starting with the pride of Snow Camp, North Carolina, bringing his lime-colored Holden Commodore to the 3rd step on the podium. JK3, Jimmy Kerr the 3rd, coming away with 3rd at Pocono. Great race.
I appreciate it.
Did you think third was possible? I mean, looking at the points now, headed into next week at Indianapolis, you're only unofficially, you're 4 points behind Aiden Norman, and you'll be 5 points off of points leader Tom Sears.
Right. I'm actually I didn't think I could be up here this close to the front. I'm not really good at Pocono normally. This car actually drives like a dream on this track compared to some of the other cars I've drove here.
We'll see you next week at Indy. Congratulations on third. Our silver medalist tonight, Tom Sears. You still hold on to the points lead by one little marker headed into the racing capital of the world next week.
Yay. Yay. I had a bad start. Accidentally got into John. I don't know what it is. Either I wreck him or push him to the win. So sorry about that. Small field tonight, but we had a lot of fun in the draft. The the pull on these cars is just unbelievable. The draft that you would get behind cars, multiple cars. You saw some 3-wide, 4-wide racing with really not that many cars. So I had a lot of fun. Hopefully we can keep getting these top threes. Can't seem to sneak out a win, but we can stay in the top 3. We can stay in the mix.
We'll see you at Indy, points leader. Congratulations on second. Tonight's race winner in our Drip Diecast and Collectibles race winning interview. If you have not yet seen the amazing capability of the inventory of Drip Diecast and Collectibles, get yourself over to their Facebook page, Drip Diecast and Collectibles, your #1 Facebook store for any NASCAR memorabilia and diecast you can imagine. Drip Diecast and Collectibles. Tell them Rick James TV sent you and get your piece of NASCAR history. Now talking with Aiden Norman, winning tonight's race. Aiden, your second straight win in AROC 3, looking for your second straight championship in the ARC's Race of Champions, and next week, the famed and feared Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 3 wins in a row, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's AROC. Obviously, it's a bunch of champions in the field. We're all here for a reason because we're considered the best of the best in ARC. So it's going to be tough, especially if we get a little bit bigger of a field than we did tonight. So I'm just going to take it minute by minute. Wait until next week to figure it out.
Congrats on the win, buddy. We'll talk to you in 7 days.
Thank you, Rick.
Fans at home, if you don't know by now, you sure do. Indianapolis Motor Speedway hosts round 4 right here, Rick James TV, tentative 8 p.m. And Monday night, we're going to have the continuation of the ENEA playoffs, 8 p.m., Rick James TV as well. So until that next race, everybody, please stay safe. Do take care of each other, and we will see you all